Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over a potential tropical storm Josephine, which is currently Tropical Depression 11 or Invest 95L, whichever one you want to call it. It's currently east of the Lesser Antilles, and it's going to be making its way into the Northern Caribbean, and then potentially making a run to the East Coast, most likely staying offshore and not really affecting parts of the United States, but it definitely has the potential to move further west and definitely impact the United States. I'm going to be tracking this with you. In today's video, I don't have my forecast out for my cone of uncertainty and my intensity guidance, but I will be making that tomorrow, most likely when it's named, when it's officially named Tropical Storm Josephine by that point, because we already have tropical storm force wind speeds. So all we need right now is for the National Hurricane Center to officially recognize it as a tropical storm. So we're going to be going over that in today's video, as well as some of the model guidance for this storm. So let's get right into it here. So here is the current National Weather Service page. We have red flag warnings all throughout the western United States, from Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming southward into Colorado, Utah, Nevada, and parts of California there. We also have some excessive heat watches in effect in this kind of dark red there over parts of California, Oregon, Nevada, and parts of Arizona, and then some excessive heat warnings for parts of Southern California and Southern Arizona there. And also for parts of Texas, New Mexico, and Oklahoma, we have some heat advisories, some flash flood watches and warnings for parts of southwest Arkansas and parts of Texas and Oklahoma, as well as a larger area of flash flood watches for parts of Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, Pennsylvania, and into parts of New Jersey and New York. And then we also have heat advisories for parts of New York, parts of New Jersey, also into parts of Connecticut, Rhode Island, and into Massachusetts there, due to some of those warmer temperatures. Now, here's the current National Hurricane Center 5-day outlook for Tropical Depression 11 and parts of the Atlantic as well. Now, currently it's Tropical Depression 11, but probably by the next update. Now, I'm recording this after they've already released the 11 a.m. update, so we have all the updated information. They're going to do another one at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, and then another one at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and they're going to continue to do this every single, I believe, 3 hours, in 3 hour increments. They're gonna update this forecast. So I'm thinking probably by either the 2 or 5 p.m. update, they are gonna name this tropical storm Josephine, just because they've already found those tropical storm force wind speeds. Now, here is currently the 5-day graphical outlook for the Eastern Pacific, and you might be looking at this and saying it's very, very active, and indeed it is. We have currently post-Hurricane Alita. Now we have it as a tropical storm. It was at, I believe its peak, it was a Category 2, and that's going to actually be moving up the coast into parts of California, Washington, and Oregon offshore, but it will bring some cooler temperatures to those areas. Now we also have Disturbance 3 over here in this orange region, and that is to the south of southernmost Mexico. We have Disturbance 2, has a 60% chance of developing within the next 48 hours and a 90% chance within the next 5 days. And then we have Invest 92E, which has a 70% chance of developing and within the next 48 hours, and within the next 5 days a 90% chance. And then we have Disturbance 4 here, which has a within the next 48 hours has a 0% chance of developing, and within the next 30%, the next 5 days, it has a 30% chance of developing. And those are all numbers from the National Hurricane Center and what they are forecasting. Now, here currently is where Invest 95L is. It's currently, or Tropical Depression 11, whichever one you want to call it, currently has maximum sustained winds of about 35 knots, with some gusts to about 40 or 45 knots. We have a minimum pressure of about 1,007 millibars, so that is a couple millibars down from yesterday, and it's currently located at 12.3 degrees north by 43.6 degrees west. Now, here's the current cone of uncertainty forecast for this storm, and sometime between tomorrow morning and right now, it is expected to become a tropical storm, so most likely this afternoon or evening, or maybe very, very early tomorrow morning. And then it's going to be moving into the northernmost Lesser Antilles and just north of the Caribbean, and kind of veering eastward of the Bahamas, according to the track from the National Hurricane Center. Now, Here is the current Invest 95L model guidance and what they are showing for this. And they are bringing this. This is just some of the model guidance, and I'm going to show you another map which has even more model guidance. These are the three main models: the Canadian model, the GEM model, the GFS model, which is the American model, and the NavGem model, which is another Canadian model here. And all of them bring this pretty close to the East Coast, and I'm actually pretty surprised with how close they bring this to the East Coast. The Canadian model, if that were to go further out, it would also bring this probably even straight northward, and that would be probably another nor'easter for those areas if that were to happen. The GFS, you would see very minimal impacts, and the NavGem, we're just not quite sure because it doesn't go far enough out. Now let's start looking at more model guidance that doesn't go as far out, but you can see they have a pretty consistent answer as to where this is actually going to go. It's going to go pretty much north of the Lesser Antilles and Puerto Rico, and then what happens after it goes into the Bahamas or east of the Bahamas. That's really the thing that we have to figure out. And I'm going to talk more about why that's so hard to forecast right now at the end of the video, and we're going to go a little bit more in depth on why this is playing out the way it is. Now, here is the Canadian ensemble models, and this is actually the GFS ensemble models, the American ensemble models, and they're bringing this pretty much all offshore. Now, here is the Canadian ensemble models, and they're a little bit more all over the place with a much broader cone. Some bring this all the way to North Carolina, others all the way out to sea. So that's really the big discrepancy that we have. We have a lot of different answers and a lot of different solutions just because of how unique the pattern that we're in right now is, and how that's going to interact with the storm. Now, here is the current earliest reasonable arrival time of tropical storm winds, as well as the likelihood that they will arrive. And for the northernmost Lesser Antilles and also just east of Puerto Rico, there we have a decent chance, about 5 to 20% chance right now, of seeing tropical storm wind speeds, and that is going to be arriving sometime between Friday night and Saturday night. So between Friday and Saturday, that's going to be the biggest impact days, especially over the Lesser Antilles and Puerto Rico, and then it looks to stay north of the rest of the Caribbean and also east of the Bahamas. So it shouldn't impact the Bahamas too much just yet, just based on what we're seeing right now, but of course that can still change. Now, here's the National Hurricane Center's chances of seeing 58-mile-per-hour winds, and they are all offshore, but you do have about a 20% chance offshore to the Lesser Antilles of seeing 58-mile-per-hour wind speeds. Now, here is some of the model intensity guidance, and all of these pretty much, except for a few outliers, bring this to a tropical storm. So we are very confident that this will be a tropical storm. You do have some unfavorable atmospheric environment. You have a very unfavorable atmospheric environment, but some of that shear has gone away. We have warm waters, and the really only thing that's bringing this that would kind of weaken this would be the dry air and the little bit of wind shear which is still left. But this is taking a track that's kind of avoiding all that dry air and wind shear just a little bit. Now, here is some of the rest of the intensity guidance, and they are bringing this again to a tropical storm, but a little bit later on. So we have most of these models bring this to a tropical storm, and that's pretty much a guarantee at this point. Now, here is, I just want to go a little bit more in depth into why this is happening and why this isn't moving up the East Coast like Isaias did and like Tropical Storm Faye did. And now the reason that's happening is because we actually have a high pressure system which is kind of sitting right out here. This would be by August 19th, so this would be next week. So this would be when the storm is kind of all the way over here by this point. So we have a high pressure system that's kind of sitting over here, and then we have a big upper trough, which the GFS is amplifying a little bit more than some of the other models, but we're going to have a trough anyway. We're going to have a big area of cooler than normal temperatures and just a drier and colder air, and that's going to bring the jet stream way south for this time of year. And what's going to end up happening is that you're going to have the jet stream actually kind of sitting something like this. So when this storm goes kind of in between this high pressure system and this broad broad trough here, it's gonna have to move out to sea kind of like this to avoid this jet stream, which is kind of moving it along, and also to avoid this high pressure system. So if this high pressure system, let's say if this high pressure system moves out kind of like this, and we see this trough be still in the central United States by the time we're getting closer to the East Coast, and we just passed the Bahamas, if the trough is still in the central United States and the Great Lakes, then we could have some sort of East Coast impact. But that is going to take a couple of things to come together in order for that to happen. So that is going to wrap it up. I just want to quickly show you why there is so much discrepancy in the models, just because of the timing of this trough coming in. If this comes in later, we have a better chance of seeing a East Coast impact. If it comes in much faster, that's going to carry the system along with it, and that will actually lead to a fish storm, pretty much, where it's not going to impact any land, pretty much, except for maybe a brief impact to the Bahamas before moving north and eastward. So there's a lot to figure out, and I'm going to be keeping up to date with this storm, and I'll be updating you guys most likely tomorrow on the storm. Now, also, I am going to be releasing my second winter forecast, or my updated winter forecast, August 15th. So that's in the next 3 days or so. So make sure you guys are subscribed and you have your notifications turned on so you don't miss when I do upload that, if you do want a sneak peek into an updated look at my winter forecast. Now, again, that is going to wrap it up for today's video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.